I know very little when I begin. I know that first impulse and the first sentence.
I had the title poet, and maybe I was one for a while. Also, the title singer.
Very often the first sentence that I begin with is not the first sentence that I end with, but in the case of the humbling, it is.
I could barely carry a tune.
Now Suzanne takes your hand and she leads you to the river.
This book I had one line, which was the opening line of the book. He'd lost his magic.
I never thought of myself as a poet, to tell you the truth. I always thought that that poetry is the verdict that others give to a certain kind of writing.
And that was because I'd heard a story about an actor, a very distinguished actor, who at one point in his career was unable to act.
Call yourself a poet is a kind of dangerous description.
And that stayed with me. And I thought this line, he'd lost his magic. And that was what I began with. I just pursued it then line by line.
You know, you scribble away for one reason or another. You're touched by something that you read. You want to number yourself among these illustrious spirits.
I think the readers have succumbed to the lure of other things. And reading began to suffer with the invention of the screen.
For one advantage or another, some social, some spiritual.
That is to say, the movie screen. And then there was the television screen. And finally there was a computer screen.
It's just ambition that tricks you into the enterprise. And then you discover whether you have any actual aptitude for it.
Since I've been alive, it seems the world has been a darker place. I was born into the Depression. I was a little one, didn't know about it, but my parents lived through it.
I always thought of myself as a competent minor poet. I know who I'm up against.
I don't think that reading is able to win people away from those screens, but rather loses them in great numbers.
For one advantage or another.
The Depression ended, and then the war began, World War II. I was old enough to understand that. World War II and the Cold War began.
Up against Dante and Shakespeare, Isaiah, King David, Homer, you know, so I've always thought that I, you know, do my job okay.
It's a rare state. It's not the normal state, I don't think. It happens from time to time.
Out of the thousands who are known or who want to be known as poets, maybe one or two are genuine and the rest are fakes, hanging around the sacred precincts, trying to look like the real thing. Needless to say, I am one of the fakes.
So it's always been a dark place in my experience.